Hi, welcome to Read Gab's Book Huddle. I'm excited this week to have our first author on. This is Bree Moore, and she is going to share with us about what she does as an author, and really exciting, she just authored a children's book as well. So Bree, tell us a little bit about yourself before you tell us how you got into writing.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me tonight. I'm really excited to be here. I live in Iowa, a very, very small town, Iowa, with my husband and 6 kids and 2 cats. And
Excellent.
we're loving it here. We're new to Iowa, so it's been an adventure. And I homeschool my kids during the day. That's what I do as like my day job, as
Yes,
I'm full-time mom and more full-time than some. So
right.
yes, it's a lot of fun though, and I really do love it. And kind of in between when they're occupying themselves or maybe they're playing on the iPad, then I get my writing time in. So kind of sneak it
Excellent.
in there.
So I think I remember 6 published books for adults. Is that right?
I have 7 now.
7. Okay. So, and tell me what genre you do for adults.
So for adults, I do some nonfiction in pregnancy and childbirth, and I do fantasy novels.
Excellent. Excellent. That's my jam is fantasy. Mostly I read young adult fantasy, but I'll read a little, I don't know, Brandon Sanderson, which is practically young adult sometimes anyways, but that's excellent. Okay, cool. So now tell me about the book that it just came out this week or it's coming out this month.
It
Tell me
came
about
out
your
last week.
last week. Okay.
Yeah, and I started a new pen name for it. So the pen name for that book is Iva Hart,
Iva
and
Hart.
it's my first children's book.
Excellent.
Hopefully, one of many.
So now your books for adults, do they have a pen name or?
Yeah, so the books for adults are under my actual name, which is Bree Moore.
Okay. And so do you mind sharing with us why I have a heart? I don't know.
Yeah,
Is it supposed to sound like that? I have a heart. I just realized.
well, the funny thing, it's a funny story because I wanted to use the name Iva. It is a family name, and for some reason, I feel really connected with it. So I knew I wanted to use the name Iva, and then I just was looking for the perfect kind of last name to go with that name. And I never said the name out loud to myself. I
Uh-huh.
just in my head, and so
See it
I
in
never picked
writing.
up on the fact that it kind of sounded like I have a heart. Like it was
Yes.
like a sentence. And it was my husband who pointed it out to me after I'd like gotten it on the book cover published
Yes.
good.
After it was
And I was
already
like,
there.
oh, now I feel a little silly, but really I like it. And
Yeah.
I think
It's
it's
good. It's good.
cute and kind of tender. Like it's just sweet.
Yes.
And hopefully people don't think it's too cheesy. And I did not plan for that.
Well, children's book, there's definitely room for cheesy there.
Yeah, I was thinking so. I'm thinking
Yeah.
so. So
I think
it's
that's
there
so funny.
now, and
I
it's
yeah, I because I had seen that like right from the get-go that I was like, oh, am I on the right thing? Because I knew your name was Bree. And so I
yeah,
noticed it and I didn't realize until saying it out loud with you.
yeah. I really just wanted a name that was separate from my adult stuff. I think that's important when you're an author to make sure that you're meeting reader expectations. And I thought it'd be kind of odd if I had this children's book mixed in with all of my adult fantasy and things. So
Right. Right. Excellent. So this is such a unique subject. I was reading the beginning where it says that you were looking for something like this, right? And that's why you authored this specific topic. So tea time? I sorry, I'm looking for the thing now. What? Tell me the
it's
title
tea,
again.
please. Yeah,
Tea, please. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
it's tea, please.
Okay. So tea, please. And I love in the beginning that welcome that it just talks about that you set out to create this because it was missing from the world and it needs to be there. And so share with us about tea, please, and specifically why tea for kids and
Yeah, it was really born from my passion for 2 things. The first one being my kids and spending time with my kids.
right.
This year for homeschool, we had just started doing history and tea. So I make a pot of tea with them, and then we have cookies, and I read to them from their history books, and we talk about things from history. And it's been something that we've really loved, and I can see us continuing it for future years. And then I am very passionate about learning how to be more self-sufficient with food and medicine and various things. So I've been learning a lot more about plant medicine over the past several years and how to forage food and medicine from the land around you. And that translates really well into tea. I think tea is one of the easiest ways we can nurture our bodies. And I've been teaching my kids about using tea to calm them down, to help them sleep, to help them when they're sick, and all these things. And I love to read about like everything. I'm a huge information gatherer. So I was looking for a tea book for kids that would help me like guide my kids through making tea, that would have recipes and fun things for us to do together. And literally could not find anything like it out there. And there's some tea books for adults, definitely. So if you're an adult who wants to explore all of the boundaries of tea, there's books out there for you. But if you want to explore it with your kids, there's just not much there. And so when I saw that gap, I was like, I can do this. I have information. I can simplify the tea making process so that their moms and dads and grandparents and anyone out there who wants a kid in their life to start this little ritual for themselves, they can learn that process. And they have some simple recipes and with ingredients that you can grow or easily obtain. And so all these things came together to make this book.
That is so awesome. I have a friend. I remember recently having this conversation with her where she was saying, she makes her own little tea in the morning and then she kind of drinks it while she's doing all of her tasks. And I was like, well, one of the best benefits of having a cup of tea is sitting down and having the cup of tea. Like that's like, in essence, what you're missing is you're missing the sitting and enjoying that benefit of just relaxing and letting that heat come into you and the relaxing. So
I think we don't get enough of that. Like
yes, and definitely kids don't, right? Because they go.
Oh yeah. And because I would start making tea for myself. And every time, inevitably, my kids would be coming up to me and, Mom, can I have some tea too?
Yes.
And at first it felt a little bit like a burden to get them involved and be like,
this is my time. This is right.
And then I started inviting them in and like enjoy this with me. And I saw how it created kind of this community in our home. Just for a bit, this everybody was excited about tea, and it's so rare. I actually can't think of a time when there's been a fight during tea time. Like I really think, and I have 6 kids, like that's saying something.
Yes. Yeah.
So I really found that it created that community feel. And when we don't do it, like when I'm busy and I kind of forget tea time, my kids get kind of cranky and we get into kind of fall into some old habits of just not feeling unified. So I only do it 2 days a week. Like it's not, and then kind of randomly as like it happens naturally. We don't do it every day, but
that's beautiful when it's natural.
Yeah, it contributes to a better home environment for us for sure.
Well, and one of the things I was listening to on a podcast just this week was, she was talking about self-care. And then she said, it doesn't stop being self-care when somebody joins you. Like a lot of times you think of self-care as self-individual. This is me, this is mine, and everybody else is out. But just because your kids are joining you doesn't mean it's not self-care anymore. So, and then it's important for them to have that self-care too. You can learn that from you. That's beautiful. So one of the ones I was looking at was this lavender blue. So maybe this just shows my lack of knowledge, but like butterfly pea flowers. Do you have somewhere in the book, because I just had some pictures from the book, do you have somewhere in the book that says this is where you would go to get these ingredients, or is this where I'd like join you online? It did say, find me online. Where do I find butterfly pea flowers?
Yeah. So I do have a resources page on my website that's linked in my book. And so that is there's a things you need page that discusses like all of the things you need, and my website's on there. And then towards the back of the book, it also kind of tells you, you'll find recipes and you'll find resources on my page. So if you go to ivahartbooks.weebly.com, then you can find that resource page. And it has a link to, I get mine from Etsy, because I prefer to support like the smaller independent sellers. But you can get things on Amazon or other online stores. Mountain Rose Herbs is another great place to get things online. The ideal really is to try to grow it yourself. And butterfly pea flowers, it's just the pea plant. Like it's not anything super rare or exotic, and it would grow.
So and it's something I could grow like in a window box.
Well, that one, it climbs. So
okay. So that's important. That's going to be an only outdoor kind of thing when it's
but a lot of the plants could be grown in a windowsill, or they could be grown in some sort of little indoor space if that's what all you had, or a little porch, on a apartment porch, whatever. I really tried to focus on that. There are a few things like turmeric is a little harder to grow, but it's easy to find in powder form in the store. So there's
and then could you just do that, add a little bit of the powder instead?
You could. Yeah, you totally could. The powder form changes the flavor just slightly. So experimenting with it and finding the ratios that you like.
And probably using a lot less.
Yeah, with the powder form for sure.
Right. Okay. So then are your books, are they self-published, or do you have a publishing house? How did you go about publishing? Are they through the same method?
Yeah, so currently all of my books are now self-published. I did start out with my fantasy with a small publishing company, and they were wonderful to help me get started. And then I really, as I went on my journey, discovered that they couldn't do much for me in terms of marketing or giving me any benefits. So I ended up going out on my own with future books, and with this one in particular. So when I got the idea for Tea Please, I debated for quite a while on whether I wanted to pitch it to agents and publishers and see if I could get it picked up somewhere, or if I wanted to do it myself. And ultimately I decided that it was such a niche idea and had maybe a fairly small audience that I would do it myself. And so I partnered with an artist on Etsy who licensed her artwork to me, and the beautiful like watercolor.
Yes, I do love the art.
So I didn't do the art, but I did all of the writing, all of the formatting, all of the proofreading and everything.
Lovely. Excellent. So all of my guests, I like to have them share their favorite children's book. Bree, what can you share with us that you just love as a children's book?
Yeah, when you asked that question, the first one I thought of was Charlotte's Web. I love the story of Charlotte's Web. I grew up reading it probably several times a year when I was a kid.
Wow,
seeing awesome. Like the early movie, the animated movie, the really early one. And I recently reread it. I think it was last year. I think for the first time as an adult with my girls. I read that to them as a bedtime story, and I bawled.
Oh.
Hysterically at the end. And so it was amazing how it could touch me and how much different it was to me as an adult than it was as a kid, but how it still had themes that were brought to life by my new life experiences that I thought that was really cool.
That's awesome. There's so many emotions and connections, and then it is interesting how you experience a book differently at different times in your life, for sure. So excellent. All right, is there anything else you wanted to share with us?
I just had a quote from Charlotte's Web that I wanted to share really quick. And spoiler alert, it's at the very end. Anybody who hasn't discovered the story of Charlotte's Web, look out. But I really loved this because it says, "It is not often that someone comes along who is a true friend and a good writer. Charlotte was both."
That's beautiful.
I love
and
that.
I bet what you strive to be in yourself, a good friend and writer. Beautiful. Well, I love that. Thank you so much. And perfect. There's nothing else that should be said. at the end of this, because that is what perfect thing to aspire to. Good friend. And what does it say? A good friend and a good writer, or
A true friend and a good writer.
a true friend and a good writer. I think we should close with that. Thank you so much, Bree, for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.